As we all know, our Earth is a member of a vast and diverse planetary system, a system that houses 8 giant planets which revolve around a fixed star, our Sun, with precision. Although humanity was created too late to directly witness the events that took place at the solar system's birth, by glancing into the systems of other stars, we are beginning to assemble together the events that occurred. To be sure, the correlating celestial bodies are astonishingly diverse. While Saturn astounds people with its tremendous ring system and myriad moons, Mars, also referred to as the Red Planet, has always been preceded by wonderful myths and legends. Today, we'd like to take you to a planet in our galaxy that isn't always as well known as its galactic neighbors. We dedicate ourselves to Mercury.
Audio Jungle.
When humanity first began sending space probes out to explore the planetary system, the first planet to be visited was Venus, our nearest neighbor, in 1962. Mars came next in 1965, followed by Jupiter in 1973. Only then came Mercury in 1974, and already this order might seem a bit odd. Mercury and the Earth are 77 million kilometers apart at their closest. In reality, it is the planet that is closest to us on average. The closest distance between Earth and Jupiter is 588 million kilometers, or nearly 8 times that. And Jupiter is visited again in 1974, 2 times in 1979, 1992, 1995, 2000, and 2007. Several missions were launched to comets, asteroids, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, but Mercury received nothing for 30 years. Is this because it was deemed uninteresting? Mercury, the solar system's closest planet to the Sun, is made up of approximately 30% silicate and 70% metallic components. Rather than being rocky, it is more metallic. Because of this, Mercury has the second highest density in the solar system, at 5.427 grams per centimeter cubed, somewhere behind Earth, whose density is 5.515 grams per centimeter cubed. If Mercury were about the same size as Earth, it would have roughly the same gravitational effect as the Earth's surface. Discovery and historical events. Mercury was discovered by no single person. As among 5 planets visible in the celestial sphere without the aid of binoculars or a telescope, Mercury has been renowned since ancient times and has been observed by people of various cultures for thousands of years. Around 3000 BC, the Sumerians left one of the oldest known of Mercury. Mercury is harder to see because it never moves far from the Sun in the sky, and was likely found later than brighter planets such as Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. However, due to its size, it only has a surface gravity of 3.7 meters per second squared. If you compared its gravity to that of Earth, it might look like this. This means that the gravitational pull of Mercury is only mildly less than that of Mars, which, given that Mars is a significantly larger planet, only speaks to Mercury's density. Before we quit the topic of Mercury's size, I'd like to show you one more comparison. Ganymede and Titan versus Mercury. Ganymede is now the solar system's largest moon and Jupiter's largest moon, whereas Titan is Saturn's largest moon and the solar system's second largest moon. As you can see, these 2 massive moons are larger than Mercury, but their masses are much lower. The very first mission was a flyby, and it only mapped approximately 40 to 45% of Mercury's surface. Actually, the actual reason is that Mercury is among our solar system's most difficult planets to visit. Why? Well, Mercury persists in a furnace. Because of its close proximity to the Sun, its surface average temperature can exceed 430 degrees Celsius. Thus, any probe visiting it would need to be extremely heat resistant. But due to the Sun's strong gravitational pull and proximity to it, any probe that is launched in its direction will accelerate rapidly. Using rocket fuel to overcome this would be such as swimming up a whitewater rapids. Combating the Sun's gravity needed too much energy for a Discovery-class spaceship to carry. and slowing down enough to catch up with Mercury's orbit seemed impossible. But with the Messenger mission, everything changed. And today we'll learn about mankind's first and sole attempt to launch a probe into orbit near one of the solar system's most difficult to reach planets. Whenever it comes to spacecraft, weight is a difficult constraint to overcome. The heavier the craft, the larger the rocket required to lift it out of Earth's orbit, and the more costly everything becomes. To reduce this cost, scientists strive to keep it all as light as possible. Scientists attempt to take only what is required to assist them in completing their journey, because fuel consumes valuable weight distributions that could be used for scientific instruments. Lastly, for approximately 30 years, scientists couldn't come up with a way to put sufficient fuel on a probe to slow it down enough yet to enter Mercury's orbit, especially if scientific equipment was on board. So following the success of Mariner 10's Mercury flyby missions in 1974 to 1975, Mercury discovery was put on hold. But in 1985, Chen Wanyan, an expert in orbital mechanics, discovered a method for placing a probe in orbit around Mercury without the use of novel technology. Instead, he devised a specific path for an orbiter to take around the planetary system that might slow it down enough just to enter Mercury's orbit with only just a few course corrections. According to Chen Wanyan's model, a spaceship would orbit the Sun 15 times, flying past Earth once, Venus twice, and Mercury 3 times before eventually decelerating enough to enter its orbit on the 4th pass. All of these celestial flybys would be necessary because, by skimming the planet's atmospheres, essential speed could be saved due to atmospheric drag and the planet's gravity. The entire journey would be 7.9 billion kilometers long and take approximately 6.5 years to finish. Chen Wanyan's findings were not immediately recognized, but in 1998, NASA became interested in the concept, and after determining the viability of the path, they launched the Messenger probe in 2004. Mercury's topography is much less varied than that of Mars or the Moon. Its highlands are lower, and its basins and ravines are shallower. However, this does not imply that Mercury's surface is flat or unengaging. Flybys of the Mariner 10 spacecraft in 1974 and 1975, as well as current pictures from the Mercury Messenger, reveal a cratered surface with cliffs and ridges similar to our Moon. Messenger discovered an area of uplift resembling a plateau on Earth where a portion of the Caloris Basin had been pushed up above the altitude of its rim by tectonic forces. One of the most noticeable features of Mercury is a massive crater on its surface, named Caloris Basin, which has a diameter of 1,550 kilometers. Caloris Basin was formed by a powerful impact that caused lava eruptions and left a circular ring over 2 kilometers tall covering the impact crater. Another thing that Mercury has that Mars does not is a true magnetosphere, or a magnetic field all around the planet. Despite being only 1.1% as powerful as Earth's, it is still powerful enough to redirect much of the solar radiation around the planet. We'll now move to one of the aspects of Mercury that I find most fascinating, its rotation and orbit. Mercury has the most eccentric orbit of any planet, varying from 46 million kilometers to 70 million kilometers from the Sun. Now, this is a little difficult to picture, but stick with me. Mercury's revolution around the Sun takes about 88 Earth days. The planet's rotation around its axis also has a 3-to-2 spin-orbit resonance. This means that for every 2 orbits around the Sun, it spins 3 to 4 times around its axis. Now, if the scientific findings of this mission would be something you'd be hearing about in a future video, please let me know by commenting or leave a like. Mercury is our inner solar system's least explored rocky planet. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. However, it seems that Mercury contains a plethora of details about how all of the celestial bodies have emerged since the solar system's inception. NASA has launched the Messenger space probe to accomplish an in-depth exploration of Mercury's secrets. Messenger entered Mercury's orbit in 2011 and studied it for more than 4 years. The probe found some amazing details that we'll discuss in future videos. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you think about Mercury. Until the next video, we'll talk to you later.